I'm an environmentalist with a lot of tattoos. Does that make me a bad environmentalist? No. But do tattoos have a negative impact on the planet? Absolutely. So let's address that today. Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste. If I talk a little bit too fast for you, I can't help it. There's a little gear icon right down here where you can change the speed of the video though. In previous videos, I have addressed other wasteful things that I do, such as having blue hair, using plastic, driving a truck, and things of that nature. But I have never addressed the other elephant in the room when it comes to what I do with my body, and that is tattoos. I know I don't owe the haters anything, but I'm sure that plenty of you are out there who genuinely are curious about the environmental impact of tattoos, and I was as well. So let's dive into it. In the video that I made about having blue hair, I fully acknowledge that it's not a great thing to do for the planet, but I justify doing it for my mental health. It is one thing that I use to express myself, have some joy in my life, especially during these times. But I think this is a very, very tricky line that can easily be crossed. Yes, take care of your mental health, have some joy in your life, even if that does mean a little bit of waste, but that is not an excuse to overconsume. So when I have blue hair, I do it mindfully. I dyed my whole head so that way when it grows out, I don't mind the look of my roots. So I'm just gonna keep letting it grow out. I'm not gonna bleach my hair anymore, and I only touch it up like 2 or 3 times a year. The color lasts so long because I wash my hair so infrequently. So I'm really taking this as something wasteful and making it as less wasteful as possible. Same with tattoos. I have no like solid plans to get tattoos right now, but I'm like working up some ideas. That way I can hopefully finish all of the rest of my arm in one sitting to reduce a whole lot of plastic waste. And other things, like if traveling is something that you love, traveling once or twice a year, taking a trip that you do in a slow travel way that you take mindfully is so much different than taking a flight every single week. I'm not gonna sit here and shame anybody for what they do for the planet and what they don't do for the planet, but just remember that if you do a little bit of wasteful things here and there, it's okay in moderation. And if you wanna learn more about overconsumption, how you can break up with consumerism, check out this video next. I think it can be very, very harmful if we give up every single thing that we enjoy for the sake of the planet. It will make zero waste living dull, boring, not fun, bad for your mental health perhaps, and unsustainable for you. It does need to be sustainable for you as well if you want to continue this lifestyle for years to come. And honestly, there are so many ways that we can take our hobbies, we can take these things that bring us joy and do them in a more eco-friendly way, which I outline in this video about hobbies that you can check out next. For example, I also love to crochet. Crocheting brings me a lot of joy. So when I crochet, I use yarn that I already have, I buy secondhand yarn, or I buy yarn out of natural fibers. Other things I love to do include reading. So I'll use my library, I will buy secondhand books, or I will support indie bookstores instead of big brands like Amazon. Moving on to tattoos, it is something that I recognize is not great for the planet, the ink, the plastic, etc. But honestly, it's not something that I'm willing to give up. Call me a bad environmentalist if you want to, but I know that that does not make me a bad environmentalist. So let's get into it. What is the environmental impact of tattoos? Now, to be fair, there's not really a solid, like, this is the carbon footprint of a tattoo, like, calculator. It all depends on your artist, how much ink they're using, where do they get their ink, what are they using to shave your skin, what are they using to wrap the tattoo in. All of this sort of stuff factors into it, and no two tattoo artists are going to be the same. When I first started getting tattoos, I was 18. This one was my first one. Ugh, it's really hard for you to see at this angle. It's the compass. And this was when I was like just dabbling in environmentalism. I cared about recycling, I used a reusable water bottle, and that was about it. I got tattoos then for the next, 4 years, and it wasn't until I moved to Las Vegas when I was about 22 that I really started to question the impact of tattoos. And by that point, I already had 15 tattoos or so. So I was like, it's too late to turn back now. Not that I need to tattoo my whole body just because I have a couple tattoos, but at that point I decided if I want to get a few more tattoos here and there to finish out my arm, this is really my only tattoo goal, is to finish up this arm. But ever since then, I have become very, very mindful about choosing an artist that uses eco-friendly materials, choosing an artist that I really, really love and want that art on my body for forever and don't have to worry about, covering up or getting it removed later down the line, etc., etc. So while I have never once thought about quitting getting tattoos, I did start to think about their impact more and more as I aged. So first is plastic. Honestly, I love that tattoo parlors use a lot of plastic for cleanliness. I really appreciate when a tattoo parlor takes sanitation into consideration, such as wrapping the armrest in plastic, wrapping their tattoo gun in plastic, sanitizing my arm really well, sanitizing their hands, sanitizing their workstation really well. The tattoos go in all of the layers of your skin. Blood is often drawn, and it can be a very, very hazardous work environment for employees, for the people getting the tattoos. But some of that plastic includes ink bottles, ink cups, plastic wrap for tattoo aftercare, plastic wrap for the tables, tattoo machines, lights, plastic gloves, plastic razors so that they can tattoo on perfectly smooth skin, markers used to draw on the skin. And while not plastic, the needles are single use, and thank goodness for that. So you get the idea. Tattooing is heavily involved with plastic. Now, something cool though, a lot of tattoo parlors are leaning into using recycled plastic or bioplastic, which is a great step in the right direction. If you can't give up plastic, using recycled or bioplastic is a great step. For example, our dog, we have to pick up his poop when we go on walk. It's the rule, and also I just don't want to be a gross neighbor, so we opt for bioplastic dog poop bags. Otherwise, we don't use a whole lot of plastic, single-use plastic. This is plastic right here. So I can't say that I opt for these types of plastic all that often. Now, what about the actual ink itself? The ink really isn't that great for the planet, and it's not great for you either. So if you simply don't want to know the impact of tattoos on your own health, I'm not going to go into it that far because I'm not a medical professional. Skip ahead a minute or so. You'll see the timestamps down below. You can just skip ahead to the next timestamp. But anyway, let's dive into the health impacts of the planet and your own skin when it comes to tattoo ink. Tattoo ink has been known to have heavy metals in it, such as lead, cadmium, and arsenic, to name a few. This won't stop me. Do I have a death wish? Maybe. But honestly, so many of our things that we consume have these heavy metals in them. Period products, chocolate, water, air, right? Like having a little bit of extra lead or arsenic in my skin via my tattoo ink. Oh well. Again, I have 28 tattoos. What's 29th? What's a 30th? Obviously, you know, the dose makes the poison. One small tattoo, like this little cherry right here, that's not gonna kill me, but if I end up covering my entire body, I might be accelerating some things. But at this point, I say, too late, I love tattoos. Oh well. Thankfully, this is more of the old school ink, something that you would have seen in years past. Inks are becoming a bit more eco-friendly and a bit healthier for our own bodies as well. There are plenty of newer inks that do not contain heavy metals, but they are most likely made out of animal products, so these more eco options are not vegan. Of course, plant-based inks do exist. They might just cost more and or be harder to find. But keep your eye out. I see plenty of vegan tattoo shops using plant-based inks, which is amazing. All right, on to energy usage. Of course, if you get an old school stick and poke tattoo, that doesn't require any energy except for the human who's performing it. But most tattooing these days is going to be using electricity, not only with the tattoo gun itself, but the overall lights, the AC, the heat of the shop, the like little lights that they have, like the spotlights that they have to light up the area even more, music playing, you get the idea. There's a lot that goes into running a tattoo shop. Now, of course, I would rather them use the best lighting as possible so that way I get the best result as possible. But once again, this is just something to consider when looking at the overall environmental impact of tattoos. Tattoo shops do use quite a bit of energy. But some things that they could implement here would be to use LED light bulbs, opening the windows instead of using the AC, looking into a shop solar panel, if that's in the budget, and other things of that nature. So when it comes to my own tattooing experience, here are a few ways that I minimize my waste when I go to get tattoos. As I already said, plenty of shops are moving into becoming more eco-friendly, such as using bioplastics and things of that nature, so I seek out tattoo shops that are implementing that. Of course, it's also, I like to find that balance of an artist that I love, like I love their work, and also eco-friendly. It can be kind of difficult to find the marriage of those two, but honestly, I found a lot of those. My tree tattoo, I sought her out specifically for her work. Also eco-friendly, also love her work, so it's definitely possible. I know bioplastics are not perfect, especially if these shops don't have access to commercial composting, but even then, the creation of bioplastics is still less harmful on the planet than creating oil-based plastics, which you can learn more about in this video. Once again, I also choose my artists carefully based off of their work. I want their work to be something that I want on my body for forever and not something that I want to get covered up. When it comes to also preparing myself for the tattoo, I will make sure to bring like my own water, my own coffee, my own snacks, so that way I can minimize waste there and I don't have to like, you know, call in a DoorDash, call in an order, like a to-go order from a restaurant that would use a lot of plastic and a lot of transportation. So I make sure to bring stuff to keep myself hydrated, energized, and entertained without any additional waste. Once I get to the tattoo shop, I make sure to precisely describe the size of the tattoo that I want, the location of the tattoo, which angle that I want it, to reduce the amount of tattoo paper that we're using. If you've never gotten a tattoo before, the way that it works is the artist will actually draw the tattoo. We'll just use this one because this is the easiest for you guys to see. Artists will draw this on something like an iPad. They will print it out on tattoo paper and essentially put a temporary tattoo on your skin that they can use as a stencil. Not always. My snake was hand drawn because of the weird location for it. It could not be a stencil. If it's crooked, if it's in the wrong spot, if it's too high, if it's too low, they will erase it, which requires waste, and then they will put a new stencil on, which requires more waste. So the fewer times that you have to put that stencil on, the less waste involved. But, please do not use this as a reason to not get the perfect tattoo. Had the artist put the tree on like totally crooked, I would have corrected her. Please correct them if the tattoo is totally wonky. You do not want a wonky tattoo just to reduce one piece of plastic, because then you might hate the tattoo, you might want it removed later, you might want it covered up later, and then that's just more waste involved down the line. All that to say, describe the tattoo as best as you can to avoid all of that. But if you need to do some adjustments, please don't be afraid to. I also opt for black ink. Most of the time I've got orange stripe on the snake. Yes, that hurt really bad. Blue tail on my blue-tailed skink. And then I've got a red eye on the loon. You can probably barely see the red eye. I do black and white just because that's what I prefer, but also it ends up being a little bit more eco-friendly because it requires fewer needles, it requires fewer little ink cups, it requires less ink to be used in general. It's just a lot less waste to just use one color. Of course, get the tattoo that you want. Don't just get black and white tattoos because it's eco-friendly if you don't like that style. Just a little bonus, if all you get is black and gray tattoos, it's a little bit more eco-friendly than getting colored tattoos. As I mentioned in the beginning too, I try my best to have multiple tattoos in mind and get them at the same time, but that doesn't always work out. The acorns and the maple leaf was one sitting. The moons, did I get 3 that day or just 2? I did get 3. The moons, the ginkgo, and then the alien on my ankle. I got all of those in one sitting. I got my cherries and my skull in one sitting. I think I got the bee and ghost cat in one sitting. Anyway, that is one way that you can reduce some waste with tattooing because they don't have to change the plastic on the gun. They don't have to change the plastic on the bed that you're sitting on. They don't have to have multiple different ink cups because it's all your germs. So they don't have to unwrap all of that stuff, throw it away just for you to come back in a week or 2 to get more and produce more waste in that way. When done, they almost always wrap the tattoo. I prefer to use second skin just because it stays on the best, and it also, I think, reduces the amount of waste that you use. Second skin basically covers the tattoo precisely. It's a very, very small piece of plastic that they cut out like the outline of the tattoo. If they were to use plastic wrap, they would have to wrap it around your whole arm once or twice. Therefore, more plastic. It also falls off very easy. It also requires tape to stay on. If you want to wrap it at home later, you will have to use more plastic wrap. I like the second skin because it stays on the best, which is best for me. I think it heals my tattoos well and also reduces the most amount of waste. Of course, you can opt for not having it wrapped if you want. It's not necessarily recommended just because your tattoo will be leaking, it might be bloody. It can be unsanitary if you're out in public while your tattoo's healing for those first like 12 hours or so. But honestly, it all comes down to you and your artist. And then finally, bringing it to tattoo aftercare. You don't need anything fancy to take care of your tattoos. Really, most artists will just recommend an unscented lotion. So use what you already have. But if you are in the market for looking for some eco-friendly tattoo balms, I did review a few brands last year that you can check out right here. I must have tested like 5 brands of tattoo balm, and then I got 5 tattoos while I was in Ohio. I tested each balm on one tattoo only, so it was very scientific. Use what you already have. If you already have an unscented lotion, use that first. And then if you are in the market for a tattoo balm, opt for something eco-friendly, such as something that comes plastic-free, something that comes in a container that is recyclable or reusable, made with eco-friendly materials, and things of that nature. So, should we stop tattooing? I can't say that tattooing is good for the planet, especially our modern form of tattooing. You know, back in the day when they used animal bones as needles, charcoal for ink, and then just like tapping, that's quite eco-friendly, to be honest. Today, modernly, with our ink that has heavy metals in it, with our tattoo guns that use electricity, and with our desire for sanitation that uses a lot of plastic, it's not very eco-friendly. Of course, is it the worst thing that you could ever do for the planet? No. Does that mean that's an excuse to overconsume on tattoos? No. But if tattoos bring you joy, if it is something that you use to express yourself, I'm not gonna stop you. Obviously, I got blue hair, I got piercings, I got tattoos. Who am I to say stop tattooing? I'm not going to. I'm not gonna stop tattooing. I think I am kind of slowing down as I wrap up my arm here. Personally, I would just rather focus my energy on something else. I would rather get a tattoo that requires a little bit of waste to express myself, to have some joy in my life, and take that energy that I could be stressing about tattoos on and focus it somewhere bigger, right? Focus it on walking instead of driving. Focus it on reading books and getting educated. Focus it on protesting. Focus it on voting. All of that stuff has much more of a better or worse impact on the planet than tattooing. I don't think tattooing is the industry that we should really be that worried about. If you are mad about pollution, if you're mad about waste, get mad at factory farming, get mad at fast fashion, get mad at travel, get mad at the government, right? Like there are so many more industries that could use your scrutiny, that could use your anger, that could use your outrage and pressure them to become better because they are far worse for the planet than tattooing. Then once we fix all of those industries, then maybe it's time to worry about the smaller industries such as hair dye and tattoos. I said it in the blue hair video and I'm gonna say it again here. I think we should be focusing our energy where we can make the most impact. I were to cut out my 2 tattoos per year, that's going to have such a minuscule amount on the planet, my own carbon footprint, the amount of plastic being created, etc. It's much more valuable for me to focus on, reducing single-use plastic water bottles, a single-use plastic item that I use every single day. It is much more valuable for me to take that time to make sourdough to reduce plastic waste than to reduce the 1 or 2 tattoos I get per year. Instead of stressing these small, occasional wasteful things that you do, focus instead on the wasteful things that you do every single day. If you still use plastic water bottles, focus on that. If you still use plastic toothpaste, focus on that, something that you use much more regularly than tattoo or hair dye. Is this just another post of me trying to make excuses for my wasteful behaviors? Maybe. You could probably read it as that. But honestly, if I had 0 tattoos instead of 27 or 28 or however many I have, the world wouldn't be saved. Nobody knows how to quantify the environmental footprint of tattoos in forms of like carbon footprint and actual like physical energy plastic waste because it's not that pollutive of an industry. It's not that big of an industry. I like to think of this too as if the tattoo industry shut down right now, nobody ever got a tattoo again, would the world be saved? No. But say for example, if fast fashion got shut down, that would have a huge impact around the globe. If militaries were to shut down, another very wasteful industry were to shut down, you would see such beneficial impacts on the planet. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So I'll leave you with this. Get tattoos, don't get tattoos, whether it's for environmental reasons or not. But at the end of the day, if you have tattoos, you can still be an environmentalist. All it takes to be an environmentalist is to care about the planet. And all it takes to be zero waste is to simply do your best to reduce as much waste from the landfill as possible. You can learn more about the definition of environmentalist and zero waster in this video, these videos up here, or down below. Once again, you do not have to give up your hobbies or the things that you enjoy to live zero waste. More zero waste hobby tips are down below. So thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoyed this little tattoo tour while also talking about the environmental impact of tattoos. Let me know which one of my tattoos are your favorite. Or let us know about your favorite tattoo that you have. Some ideas that I have for my own tattoos, I don't know what I'm gonna use to fill up my arm. I think I want a strawberry. I might get like a California poppy back here up into my armpit. That would be kind of weird. I'm not really sure what to do with this gap. This gap is awkward. I think I want an incense cedar cone. And then I've got this big space right here and this big space right here that I don't really know what to do with. I want some pine cones. I love pine cones, love trees. I might want like a snail. Snails are cute. I might get like a banana slug. Options are endless and I'm running out of room. I also have a pretty good sized spot right here. Oh, and a pretty good sized spot right there. I'll keep you posted probably on Instagram if I get new tattoos, especially if it's up here, you're never gonna see it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, found it beneficial, and found it helpful for you when it comes to your self-expression as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye guys. They will erase it, which requires they will erase it, which requires wait. Oh my gosh! I am the one thing in life I can control. Forgot that one.